Welcome, I am Rail Zeev and your host for Keep Traveling Your African Vacation, the only podcast which brings you insightful information in the African tourism industry by real tourism professionals. Today we have another great episode to bring you, and I have the pleasure of introducing Tania Piers-Prinsloo, who's the Rooms Division Manager at Bluewater Bay Sunrise Hotel. Tania, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me today. Looking forward to the rest of the show.
Tania, can you tell me whereabouts in Africa you guys are situated geographically?
We are next to the tip of Africa. We are in Port Elizabeth, also known as Gqeberha, and we are right at the ocean side, leading its way to the Amatola region down from the Garden Route. So on the end of the Garden Route, you will find us in Port Elizabeth in the area called Bluewater Bay.
Now, as Rooms Division Manager, what is a normal day like for you at the property?
A normal day from work, I drive along the freeway and sometimes I get to see the dolphins on my way to work. So as I drive, they follow me to the hotel. When I get here, ample parking, which is fantastic for me. I don't like walking too much. And then once I get into the property, we always have a wonderful buffet breakfast each morning. Mostly it's a beautiful property, a lot of sunlight coming in, so it's quite bright and airy. And then we have 58 wonderful bedrooms, which I browse around and make sure everything is 100% for our arriving guests for that day.
Okay, so that's a lot of rooms to get around, but I'm sure you have other personnel that help you. Now, while we're on the subject of Bluewater Bay Sunrise Hotel, is there a story behind the name of the hotel?
Yes, there is actually. So the hotel, we ran a competition. Our operating company is called Gqeberha Development Corporation, and they bring different industries into this area for development and upliftment. And what we have is we had a competition with our staff member, and the one that won the Sunrise Hotel part is because when you are at the hotel, you actually get to see the sunrise first thing. We are directly opposite the ocean, and as the sun is rising, it lights up the whole hotel. So it's wonderful for sunrise views.
I always think that people that see the sunrise and the sunset every day, they don't actually appreciate it as much as you should, because when you don't see it, you start to miss it.
Yes, I've become a sun lover. I was always a moon lover. I love the moonshine and the different phases of the moon. But being here and getting to see the sunrise in the morning, especially with the ocean in the background and then the different changes as it goes from your oranges to your yellows, I've developed a love of sunrises because of that.
Listen, as long as you're still a lover, that's the main thing. We all want to be lovers. We don't want to be fighters.
Yes, that's true.
Tell me, Tania, what do guests always rave about after they leave having stayed with you?
We do get a lot of good reviews about our food. There's not many properties or places where you can have a little bit of traditional and Western cuisine in one place. So that's what we offer in our restaurant. And then the second one is the friendly service. We have staff which love what they do. Our team is very passionate from all different departments. So I think that's something that people normally leave, sometimes with hugs, but always they remember the staff. So when they come back, they'll even ask, where's this one and where's that one? So that's our two top assets really at the property. And then the beautifully spacious rooms.
Okay, and you mentioned the traditional food and the Western food. Can you give our listeners an example of what you mean by traditional food?
So being situated where we are, we do a very good oxtail with Samp. That's our staple food in the area. It varies across the South African landscape from your pap to rice to Samp. And Samp is our one good aspect. We also do it with a creamy Samp. So for myself personally, it's the best Samp I've ever had. And I'm used to having Samp. So that's one of our good dishes to try out. And then we've got the lamb shank as well. Most clients would know. And your traditional hamburgers and pastas and so forth. So we do cater for a variety of palates.
Okay, so I understand what Samp is, but for our international listeners, can you give us a little bit of an explanation as to what Samp is for people that haven't come across that before?
So it's a corn that's white It's got quite a starchy, grainy taste to it. So it can be made into a stew, into soup, and it's just served in a variety of ways as the starch component of a meal.
That's a good explanation. Now tell me, because you're obviously on the property for a lot of the time during the day, is there a favorite spot where you go just to get away from the maddening crowd and take a breath?
That's a very tricky question. I don't want all the guests to know my hiding places. We have a stunning veranda at the restaurant. That one overlooks the ocean. So early morning, I like to have my coffee over there so that I can watch the sunrise and also monitor the property grounds, the swimming pool and so forth. And then if it gets busy work-wise, emails and the phones ring and it gets busy, there is a very nice spot next to the hotel. There's a garden, and that one is just so quiet, and the bird life is amazing in that area. So I'll go there for 5 minutes, have a look around, see what birds are around, and that's my piece. And then I'll return to the public areas of the hotel.
I'm sorry, you've let it out now, so there's no more secret there. Tell me, what makes your property different from the other properties around you?
We are the only hotel in Bluewater Bay area. In Port Elizabeth, of course, there are other properties. The security is excellent at this property. You feel safe coming here. As a South African, you'll feel safe. As an international traveler, you'll feel you are looked after. We also have the most spacious, beautifully decorated room that overlooks the ocean, as I've mentioned. All your amenities are in the rooms. Your iron and ironing board, your minibar fridge, and then tea and coffee facilities.
Okay, so for guests that are coming from faraway places, not your local South Africans, how do you make those guests feel at home?
I'll tell you an example of what happened to me. We've had guests from Europe, and when they got to the hotel, they were so sunburnt. They looked sore. They've been traveling around. And when they got to the reception desk, they were looking for a chemist. And I asked the family of three, what happened? Are you guys okay? And they're like, no, we went to the Addo Elephant Park for the day. And I said, wow, but you got burnt. And with that, I said, you know what? I'll go fetch some aloe in the garden for you. And they looked at me, what's this lady doing? I took the aloe, explained to them how to use it. They took it to their room. They never got to the chemist, and they were fine. And they were so happy that we taught them our traditional ways of dealing with the sunburn. So I do think it's that personal aspect. We do take care of our guests. It is a boutique hotel, so you won't get lost in the crowd. We really take care of each one.
That's a very touching story, and I've never actually used it straight out of the garden, but if I'm ever in that situation, I'm going to remember you very well, Tania. Thank you very much for that.
It's great. I always see them on the shelves, the aloe. And I think to myself, we are so fortunate we don't need to buy any. We have it in our gardens, right at our homes and at the hotel as well.
That's correct. What do you think people misunderstand most about your position in the company?
As the rooms division manager, they think that I just divide rooms. When a guest comes, I say which guest goes to which room. That's not what happens. So I do oversee the reservations and reception and the housekeepers at the hotel. But I'm also here for customer service, that personal touch. If I need to make you a cup of coffee, I'll do that. Being in the service industry, we don't really fathom on titles, really. We are here to serve. That's what we do when we're employed in hospitality. I'm just fortunate enough to be on a management level.
You've spoken about the sunrises and the sunsets, but besides that, what do you love particularly about the area?
The Bluewater Bay area is quiet. I like the peace personally. There's not a lot of hustle and bustle. The houses are quite spacious in the area, and we do have a community. We communicate via WhatsApp. We have Saturday morning races or walks that people do to keep fit. So it is very much community based. It is a small, just on the outside of Port Elizabeth, by a 20-minute drive to the airport. So it's really not far enough to be out of the urbanness of a city. But we are close to the Addo Park and we are 20 minutes to the airport. So it's quite nice to be in the middle, but also in a quieter suburb.
Yeah, I hear you. I understand that. Tell me, perhaps not at the hotel itself, but in the surrounding areas, what wildlife or nature experiences can guests expect while they're in the area?
The bird life all over Bluewater Bay, because we are at the beach and close to the outskirts, we do get a lot of different bird life in our gardens. And then we are very close to the Addo National Park. We've got Gqeberha Game Park, which is also in Port Elizabeth, a smaller one. And then about an hour's drive or so, you can get to the leopards as well. But that's a different area to where we are situated. So there are different parks around us that you can visit as well. There's also boating when you go on a boat to the different islands, to Bird Island, which is quite close to us. You can actually see it from the hotel. And that's where most of the penguins are in this area. We also have a penguin sanctuary which you can visit should you like to see how they look after and take care of the penguins there. It's quite educational but also cute to see them up close and personal. So there is a lot going on in the area, even though it looks very quiet.
With South Africa having gone through this transition in the last sort of 30 or 40 years, what are your hopes for the future of the property and the area that you live in?
Tourism is a revenue generator for the country in general, and Eastern Cape is one of the poorest provinces or sections of South Africa. So it's a big drive for us as the Eastern Cape to uplift the community by giving them opportunities in the tourism sector, because we can take an unskilled person and train them to get something for regular income. Bluewater Bay Sunrise Hotel, all the management staff are from the industry. We've got years of experience, but the staff that we've employed are from the surrounding areas, from the local townships. We've taken staff on, we've trained them from how to serve a cup of coffee, how to make up a bed. We've got people in the kitchen. They have been trained from not ever even stepping into a hotel to now being able to operate and function as hoteliers, and they are very passionate because we've taken the time to teach them something. So we have a very dedicated team for that reason, but also we find that they try to inspire their own children to go into the field now, obviously to learn and then become seniors or supervisors or managers. So it's been a very good opportunity for us as hoteliers because we're giving back. At the same time, we're training people who want to learn and who wants to earn for their families.
So while we're on that note, and I want to put you on the spot a little bit.
Okay.
Can you tell me someone in particular from your staff who you think really makes a big difference?
There's quite a few in the different departments. In the restaurant, I would say there's a lady by the name of Charmaine. She always stands out. Very humble lady, eager beaver, if anything. She'll go above and beyond for guests. So that makes it very special. We can actually see that, and also guest feedback. They mention her name quite often. And then in our housekeeping department, we've got Zara. She's very passionate. And when I say passionate, I mean you can hear her 2 miles away. She's the kind of person, sometimes I find her in the guest room having long chats. And I said, no, you can't be in the room, you must be working. And she said, but the guest called me. So she's very bubbly, very talkative. She loves being around people. And it shows in her work as well. So guests always also mention her name when they check out, that they got to know Zara very well.
That's kudos to you as well, because that kind of positivity comes from the people that guide us, right? What would you say to people that are coming, that are thinking about traveling, not just to South Africa, but Africa as a whole, who are a little bit nervous about coming because of what they may or may not read in the news, social media?
So for South Africa, if you go to properties that's accredited, first of all, that's a very good indication of what you are going to get as a service. Most of them have a strict list of requirements they need to pass in order to get accredited. In South Africa, mostly it's the Tourism Grading Council. So you get up to 5 stars, from 1 to 5. We currently are 4 stars. So I always think we are 5-star service, even though we have 4-star grading. It's very important to know which grading requirements are in each country. And then also, it goes without saying, safety first. Technology makes things a lot easier. You can go into an area, you can Google which restaurants to eat at, which spots to visit. So that does help a lot. And podcasts like these, you've been around for a long time in the industry and you can also recommend. So I think speak to people from that area. It's also a good place to start your research on where to travel to.
You spoke about the star rating. And I think that the issue with star rating is that the star rating is based on the amenities that you have at the hotel or the amenities that you have at the lodge. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a 5-star experience. And let's be honest, people want experiences today. I seldom look at the star ratings because I'm saying to myself, what kind of experience am I going to get when I come and visit Bluewater Bay Sunrise Hotel? As long as you're giving a 5-star experience, I think that's the main thing that matters.
Yes, and you want to get your money's worth at the end of the day. Like I said, there's many hotels, properties, and experiences that's available. But what's going to be worth your time to come all the way? So I can honestly say that going to the Addo Elephant Park, for example, that's in the Eastern Cape, it's a beautiful experience. They're close to elephant rides where you can actually ride the elephant. And then you seeing the landscape, the different landscape. So there's a lot more to the Eastern Cape than 1 or 2 sites that you might see. Because the experiences could be a township tour. The experiences could be going to our local mall and meeting people over there. We have a lot of fantastic restaurants in Port Elizabeth that goes unseen. It's owner businesses, stunning cuisine, I must say, in Port Elizabeth, Gqeberha. So there's quite a lot to do and see, and you won't find that necessarily in the travel books. So you need to be here and ask the locals, and they'll send you to your next spot. That's how we do it here.
Yeah, I agree with you. If you're going to another country, wherever it may be, and you're just following what the tour operator said or the travel agent said, you're never going to find those real gems. But having somebody on the ground, I think, is a fantastic thing. I know that you and the management at Bluewater Bay Sunrise Hotel have been very kind in offering a prize giveaway to a lucky listener of the podcast. Would you tell us in your own words what you're giving away?
Yes, so we do have premium rooms at the hotel, which is on the 3rd floor and it overlooks the ocean, the best views, very spacious. We do gowns and slippers so that you can feel so at ease, and we are going to add our full English breakfast, which is served in the morning. So 2 nights to stay with us gives you an opportunity to travel around, which we can direct you on the best spots. And then we will see what else we can throw into that once we know you are on the way. We always like to do a thing called memorable moments, and that's where we just do something just from the hotel, but we can't say what that's going to be. It could be a spa treatment, it could be a fancy dinner. It all depends on the time of booking.
Tania, listen, thank you very much. I really appreciated learning about your property and welcoming you on the show today. You've been a fantastic guest. I love the energy. I can hear the passion for the area that you have. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks so much, Ralph, for having me. It was lovely chatting to you, and I look forward to all the entries coming our way.
That was Tania Piers-Prinsloo from Bluewater Bay Sunrise Hotel. Do not forget that fantastic prize giveaway. All the entry details can be found in the show notes of this episode, or head over to www.wildsunsets.travel/podcast. Tune in again next week when I'll be chatting to another great African tourism professional. My name is Rael Zeev, and consider this. A few years from now, you will not remember how much it cost you, but you will still remember the memories you made. Keep traveling.